गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुरेव परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। चिन्मयं व्यापि यत्सर्वं त्रैलोक्यं सचराचरं तत्पदं दर्शितं येन तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। वक्रतुण्डमहाकाय सूर्यकोटिसमप्रभा निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा। वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्। भवानी शंकरौ वन्दे श्रद्धा विश्वासरूपिणौ याभ्यां विना पश्यन्ति सिद्धा स्वान्तस्थमीश्वरम्। सर्वदर्शन श्री विष्णुदेवा सर्वदर्शन श्री विष्णुदेवा सदानंद श्री कृष्णदेवा सदानंद श्री कृष्णदेवा धर्मरूपा श्री रामदेवा धर्मरूपा श्री रामदेवा विक्रमरूपा वामनदेवा विक्रमरूपा वामनदेवा सर्वदर्शन श्री विष्णुदेवा सदानंद श्री कृष्णदेवा धर्मरूपा श्री रामदेवा विक्रमरूपा वामनदेवा विक्रमरूपा वामनदेवा प्रत्ययरूपा प्रज्ञानब्रह्मा प्रत्ययरूपा प्रज्ञानब्रह्मा सच्चिदानन्द असंग शर्मा सच्चिदानन्द असंग शर्मा प्रत्ययरूपा प्रज्ञानब्रह्मा प्रत्ययरूपा प्रज्ञानब्रह्मा सर्वदर्शन श्री विष्णुदेवा सर्वदर्शन श्री विष्णुदेवा सच्चिदानंद रूपाय कृष्णाय क्लिष्टकारिणे नमो वेदांत विद्याय गुरवे बुद्धिसाक्षिणे गुरवे बुद्धिसाक्षिणे कृष्णद्वैपायनं व्यासं सर्वलोकहितैषिणम् वेदाब्जभास्करं वन्दे क्षमाविलयं मुनिम् क्षमाविलयं मुनिम् हरि ओम। When the world exists as it is existing, and then we are also there, and in front of us the objects of the world are also there. In order to gain the knowledge of these objects, we need to become aware of these objects. When we look at an object, we are not only looking at it, but internally, whether our individual ego or personality is aware of it or not, but the inner presence of the divinity is also not only looking at it, but as its nature is to witness, it is witnessing it. And when we can tune our mind and intellect, our whole inner personality, with the inner presence of the Divine Self, then we will also get glimpses of the way in which it looks at the objects. It becomes aware of the objects. We also become aware of the objects. Becoming aware of the object means to become conscious of the object. When we become aware of the object, we get the knowledge of the nature of the object. Otherwise, we cannot get the knowledge of the object or knowledge of the nature of the object. So, to become aware of it is to become conscious of it. To become conscious of it is to know it. To know it is to gain the knowledge of it. The knowledge, if it is gained only because of the awareness, which in other words is consciousness. Without the presence of consciousness, we will not be able to gain the knowledge of anything in this world. To become conscious of anything, it is the nature of the consciousness which makes it possible. It lends its nature to the mind also. Taking the support of the consciousness, the mind becomes active, alert, and aware. Actually, the awareness doesn't belong to the mind. The awareness belongs to the inner presence of the divine self. Because of which mind also feels borrowing that awareness, getting activated or enlivened by that divine self. It feels it is aware. This means without the awareness or in its pristine, glorious level as consciousness, without the consciousness, we will not be able to gain any knowledge of any object of any kind. So in each being, it is this consciousness which is functioning, which is enabling the beings to get a grasp of the situation or the object, so that they can interact with the respective objects in their own chosen ways. But before interaction, gaining the knowledge is a pre-essential thing, and which is not possible without consciousness. The conscious awareness, which is witness, without which no knowledge is ever possible. In all the beings, there is only one divine consciousness, which is giving capacity to all beings to know what is there. Whether anything is there outside in the form of an object, or if there is anything inside in the form of awareness. Even for that mind and intellect and ego and memory, to know that there is something inside that awareness itself has to be gracious enough so that the mind will know what is inside as awareness or what is outside as an object. Whether to know anything which is there outside in the external world or inside in the internal world or in the innermost levels of existence, it is only made possible by consciousness. So actually, the consciousness alone is the real knower, and consciousness alone is the only knower. Even though manifesting through so many individual units, it is the only knower. It may function, it may appear to function like there are many knowers, but actually it is the one consciousness in all of us which makes us know through our individual internal equipments called as mind, intellect, and etc. So that consciousness is referred here in this name, the 93rd name, as Pratyaya. Pratyaya, Bhagavan's name, one of the names is Pratyaya. Pratyaya means consciousness. Now we have already seen what is that consciousness, without which no knowledge ever is possible for any being. Pratiti prajna pratyaya. So that is conscious awareness or consciousness. And in the Aitareya Upanishad, there is a reference, Prajnana Brahma, meaning consciousness is Brahman. So what is that supreme Brahman? Consciousness alone. Consciousness is Brahman. And what is the nature? The nature of the consciousness is the very knowledge. It is aware of itself, it knows what it is, and only because of its nature, anything that is there in front of it, it illumines. When it illumines, it becomes known. Consciousness directly knows everything. You and I cannot directly know everything because we need to depend upon consciousness to become alive, to bring the active levels of functioning to the mind, and then only it can know things. We need mind. Consciousness does not need mind. It can directly illumine things, it can directly know everything. So, the consciousness alone is knowledge at the highest level. The consciousness alone blesses us with knowledge at our normal level. Whatever knowledge it is possible only through consciousness. So that is Bhagavan's name, Pratyaya. how important it is. Bhagavan Vishnu is Pratyaya consciousness. Then Sarva Darshana, next name. Sarva Darshana means the all-seeing. He sees all. He is everywhere. And he has the capacity to see. See means to know. So the consciousness knows what is there in it as an appearance. It is everywhere. That Bhagavan is not standing in front of us like a two-dimensional figure which we see. To see three-dimensional we need glasses. To see four-dimensional we need some other faculty inside our mind. So the consciousness is, as we understand, is not a two-dimensional figure like us, or a three-dimensional figure which we can't see but we see it only as a two-dimensional one. But it is not even having Vishwarupa and standing in front of us as Bhagavan is there here. It is not only like this. It is 360 degrees surrounding with this Rupa. Not that it is only one place because Bhagavan is there, so we look at that and Bhagavan. Vishwarupa is in one place. No. Vishwarupa is in all around us. 360 degrees, above, below, everywhere. There is no place where there is no Vishwarupa. Then imagine now, you are in the center, we are in the center and Bhagavan is like that. So how many heads he must have, how many faces, how many eyes? He has eyes all over, heads all over, himself all over in that Vishwarupa format. And we are in the center. So, he sees all around. The whole universe is in the center. He is there all around it. So, he sees all. Sarvani, Darshanatmakani, Akshini, Yasya Sara Sarva Darshanaha. The all-seeing because he is omnipresent. How can he be all-seeing? Because he is omnipresent. He is present everywhere. Because he is present everywhere and he has the capacity to see and know, he sees everything, he knows everything. So at any point of time, we need not feel that God does not know what is happening. He knows. Only thing is, we don't know that he knows. Nobody can escape his visual capacity, knowing capacity. He knows everything. He sees everything. There is no secret for Bhagavan. We can keep secrets to ourselves or from others, but not from Bhagavan. Where can we keep secret? There where we keep secret also he is there. So Bhagavan knows everything. That knowledge itself, that awareness itself gives us strength. He knows himself means he is present. He sees means he is present. That is what he is saying. Yasya Sarva Darshana. Why is Sarva Darshana? Because Sarvani Darshanatmakani Akshini. He has eyes everywhere because he is present everywhere. He is seeing means he is present. If he is present and he is seeing, so why should we worry? He is there. All that we need to do is hand it over to him, which actually belongs to him. Then he takes care. Otherwise, we keep on trying to take care and keep on becoming careless. So, he sees means he is there. That is why Taittiriya Aranyakam also says, Vishwatah Chakshuhu. Vishwatah Chakshuhu means having eyes on all sides. He has the universal eye. Universal eyes on all sides. Everywhere he is seen. He has his eyes. Sarvatopshi Siromukham in Bhagavad Gita also, Bhagavan himself says, one who has eyes and heads everywhere. And Swami Chinmayanandaji finds a very nice word, omnispective. Omnispective. Meaning, he is having his eyes everywhere. He can see everything. So the all-seeing. So such a Bhagavan is there around us. We are trying to glorify his name as if he does not know his name. He knows everything. He knows our intention also. Later on in view of the names it comes with what intention they are chanting his name, with what attitude. That also he knows. Normally, when we the external behavior and be impressed by it. But Bhagavan is not like that. He knows what is behind, what is the motive, what is the intent, what is the intention. So continuing further, we move on to the next sloka. Aja sarveshvara siddha siddhi sarvari achyutah vrishakamirane atma sarvayoga vinishrutah. Ajaha means the direct meaning is unborn. So Bhagavan is unborn. And the 10 avatars are there, he took birth here, he took birth there, what is that? Who is unborn? Na jayata iti ajaha. That which is not born is unborn. That which has not taken birth is called as unborn. Birth implies modification. Modification means the death of the previous condition and birth of a new condition or the present condition. And after taking birth also, conditions keep on changing, so modification keeps on happening. Changes keep on happening. Since the eternal or the infinite is changeless, it can neither be born nor it can be subjected to death. Na jato na janishyate. Rigveda. Na jato na janishyate. He was neither born nor will he be born. Then what happens to people? So many who are waiting for him to come. We need to understand the depth of it. Nahi jato na jayeham na janishye kadachana kshetrajna sarvabhutanam tasmadaham ajasruta. In the Shanti Parva, Bhagavan himself says in the Mahabharata, he says, Nahi jato, I was not born. Who is telling? Sri Krishna. To whom? To somebody. There. To Pandavas. So, he is saying he is not born. And what is he? In front of them. He is born and he is saying not born. How it is? There were times where Swami Chidmananji also said, when people went to greet him on his birthday, oh, I am not born, but you are greeting me, okay for your sake. So like that. So, the idea here, we will go into it. So Bhagavan says, Nahi jato. I was not born. Na jayeham. Nor I am born. I was not born, nor I am born. Na janishye kadachana. Nor will I have a future birth. Okay. And kshetrajna sarvabhutana. I am the knower of all the fields, in all the fields, in all the bodies, in all the mind, intellect, memory, ego, equipment. I am the knower. I am the kshetrajna in the kshetra. The kshetra, the field of action. Kshetrajna, the knower of the field. So the kshetrajna. I am the knower in all the bodies, in all the antakaranais. Hence, tasmat aham ajahasruta. Hence, I am called the unborn. Hence I am called the unborn. How to understand this? The space is always existent. As far as our perception goes, space is there. In the space, a mud pot is created. In the space when the mud pot is created, what is there inside that mud pot which is newly created? Space. So what is that space called as? Pot space, mud pot space. Is the space born? We are giving a new title to pot space. Before the pot came into existence, we had no such title. and no relevant relationship for the title. Space, universal space, vast space, all-pervading space. So when the pot came into existence, we said it is pot space. Is pot space born there? It is not born. So that pot space which knows that it is all space, which is aware that it is the space, where it doesn't need water, water needs space to come into existence. That space which is there in the pot, which we can perceive, which we can interact with, is saying, I am unborn. Is it right or wrong? It is right. Logically also it is right. Yes. Where is the space born? Part born or space born? Part born. Space is not born. Space is already there. Because the part took a shape with a reference to the Upadi, limiting adjunct to that space, we say this is part space. So the supreme consciousness took the form of Sri Krishna. In the consciousness, Upadi of Sri Krishna arose. When it arose, it functioned through that, because people can understand only when it functions through a form and name. And people can get benefited only like that. Not everybody knows the all-pervasive consciousness of the Bhagavad Tattva. So they need to see form. So he updated the form. The form need to have indriyas, it has indriyas. Form need to interact, it interacted. But it hasn't done what it is into. So you just tell, I was not born, nor I am born, nor I will marry the future birth. I am always there. Where is the question of now being born? In fact, you are born in me. That is all. I am always there. In a pot there is water. In that water has the capacity to reflect. There are 1,000 pots. And even on rainy days, the clouds moved away and the sun was shining. When the sun is shining and all the 1,000 pots, 1,000 reflections appear. Are they not? They are appearing there because the reflecting medium is there. Water in the pot. The pot is the gross body. Water is the mind, intellect, memory, ego. The mind is the mind, intellect, memory, the reflecting medium. So it is under the supreme consciousness. The reflection also has the light which the original has. The reflection also can illumine. So it is illuminating whatever is there in the pot outside the pot. So it is the reflection born there. We can say, okay, with a reference to pot, with a reference to the water, which is a medium of reflection, reflection is born. Okay, born. Then after the pot, it goes butter, it gone. So died, reflection died, reflection to butter. We can say it at a relative level. But when you look at the sun will tell, I was never born in the water. I never went to factor. Then what is all this? Is your way of looking at things? That is all. Sri Krishna is like that. Ever-enduring principle, where he doesn't need to take birth. In him, the universe takes birth. In him, all beings take birth. In him, all the gods take birth. In him, everything comes into existence. He is the existence. That is all. So that existence doesn't need to take birth. From that standpoint, Bhagavan said, Ajaha, I am not Bhagavan. When a Mahatma also realizes that nature, Mahatma also says, I am not born. From that angle, there is no birth at all. Everybody belongs to that only. Actually, only thing is we are not aware of the highest nature that is belonging to us. We are only tied down to the lower nature, lowest nature, lowest nature. That is what we are. That is what it is. Our highest nature is always there. That is nothing but divinity. Only thing is we are attempting to know it through Vishnu Sahasranama. So that Bhagavan Vishnu, who is the purest consciousness, took many avatars. He can take. He can just manifest Upadi and then he can shine in it. Alright. You can shine in any Upadi. Same time, everywhere is shining. Specifically, if some special Upadi is needed, that special Upadi of Bhagavan Vishnu. That is why he is called as Sarveshwara. Next name, the Lord of all. Sarvesham Ishwaranam Ishwaraha Sarveshwaraha, the Lord of all lords. There might be intermittent lords, intermediary lords here and there, in charge of various departments, but he is the Lord of all lords. And Brother Upanishad also says, Esha Sarveshwaraha, he is the Lord of all, because he is all. And who else can be the Lord of human? He alone is the Lord. Siddha, the perfect. Where can be perfection in him? He who is the consciousness, the human, invisible. Can there be darkness in light? It is not possible. On our torch light or on our electric light, there can be darkness. That is possible. But in light, there cannot be. So he is the consciousness. Nitya Nishpanna Rupatvad Siddha. The perfect being is eternally perfect. Not once in a while perfect, not once upon a time perfect, eternally perfect. It also means, Siddha also means one who has achieved all that has to be achieved. There is nothing for him to achieve. That is why Bhagavan said, in all the three worlds there is nothing for me to gain. But still I involve in actions. Only to set an example for others, otherwise everybody will follow me and sit lazy. It is only for others that I do action. What else why do we do actions? Either to gain what we have not gained, or to lose what we don't want to keep with us. That is why we do actions. There is nothing for him to gain, nor anything for him to lose. That is what it is. That is why he is the perfect. He has achieved all that has to be achieved. And he is our higher nature. If we come to know about it, then we also need not achieve anything. Oh, what happens to these goals? What happens to these pursuits? What happens to these actions? What happens to these all these things that are there? Did you bring them into existence? No. Who brought it into existence? You only brought it. You did not bother. Our true nature is Siddha. Our false nature is attempting to become Siddha. That is why it is Sadhaka. Sadhaka is doing sadhana to gain sadhya. When he gains it, he becomes Siddha. That is what it is. We are all sadhakas trying to gain the sadhya by doing sadhana so that we become Siddha. And our higher nature already Siddha. So what is the need to do? No need. If we know it, if we really know our higher nature, that is already happy, that is already full of knowledge. What more knowledge we have to get? What more happiness we have to get? And never there is misery. So what misery we have to get rid of? The highest nature, which is not different from Bhagavan, is Siddha, the perfect. Perfection exists only in consciousness. Please never look for perfection in mind, intellect, memory, ego, body, sense organs, etc. Never look for it. It is not possible. They are born imperfect. How can they have perfection? They can be better. They may be the best, but they cannot be the perfect. How can they be perfect when they are born out of illusion, avidya and ignorance? Perfection exists only in consciousness, and that is only perfect because there is nothing else other than it. So in everybody else, degrees of perfection will be there. That is all, not the perfect. The perfect is only the one who knows his highest nature as supreme consciousness. That is all. So our unnecessary expectations, I never expected, you need not expect. Nobody is perfect. Only purity levels may vary. That is all. So that means what? Anything can happen from anybody at any time. That is what it is. But Bhagavan is there, so he will take care of everything. So his nature is Siddha. So Bhagavan doesn't need our glorification, our praises, our puja. We need for our improvement and progress. We need for our eradication of suffering and sorrow and misery. Not he doesn't need. Don't think Vishnu Sahasranama has come into existence to apply butter to him. He doesn't need. What does he need? We need for our improvement. Instead of doing difficult sadhanas, we wanted an easy sadhana. So instead of getting names, go. Easy sadhana. That's all. Next, Siddhi. Siddha, then next Siddhi. Attainment. Sarva vastushu samvid rupatva niradishaya rupatva Siddhi. Swargadinam vinashitva aphalatvam. Meaning, sarva vastushu samvid rupatva niradishaya rupatva Siddhi. Meaning what? He who is consciousness in all things, samvid rupatva. He who is consciousness in all things, niradishaya rupatva, and who has a transcendental form. He who is the consciousness in all beings, and he who has a transcendental form, not a normal form like us. He has a transcendental form. And when we look at it, and that alone is imperishable. Rest all is perishable, including Swarga. Including Swarga, Swargadinam vinashitva aphalatvam. Swarga also is bound by destruction. All are perishable. So they are all unsatisfactory. Whatever we attain, that is unsatisfactory. Temporarily it looks satisfactory. Like relationships. What is all it is? Somebody said, first marriage is triumph of imagination over intelligence. Second marriage is triumph of experience. Expectation over experience. Hope over experience. That is all it is. So, the idea here is very clear. Only in him there is the final attainment. Whether we go to this loka, that loka, this part of the world, that part of the world, wherever you go in any part of the world, unless we realize our true nature, there will linger some sort of dissatisfaction due to some reason or other. Part is a part, wherever it is, whichever part it is. Maybe there might be extra glow in that particular part of the world, but not. There is no real illuminating principle there. So wherever we go, whatever, not only this world, anywhere we go, there will be unsatisfactory experiences. We cannot find total attainment in anything except anything. Until we become one with it, with His grace, we cannot gain attainment. That is why He is the attainment. He who is available for recognition everywhere at all points. From Chinmaya this is. He who is available for recognition everywhere at all points in his nature as pure consciousness. As pure consciousness is available everywhere for recognition. He who gives the infinite fruit of Kaivalya, that also is called as Siddhi. He gives the infinite fruit. The fruit is not finite, it is infinite. That is Kaivalya. That is the Siddhi. Then Sarvadihi. Sarvadihi means Sarvabhutanam Adikaranatva Sarvadihi. Sarvabhutanam, all beings, Adikaranatva. He is the original cause. He is the first cause. He is the only cause. So that is why it is Sarvadihi. Because He is the origin of all beings, He is the beginning of all. How can He be the beginning of all? Because He is the origin of all beings. In Him we begin. In Him we remain. In Him, unto Him we depart. He alone is. But in all this, looking at something other than us and thinking that something other than us is a source of joy. That's why we look at things, whatever it is. Whether an object or a person, male or female, whether inanimate or animate, valuable or not so valuable. We look at things only because we have a feeling that that is the source of our happiness. So by looking at it, by approaching it, by owning it, by experiencing it, I will gain something. Meaning what? I don't have a source of my happiness inside me, but I have a source of my happiness outside me. So I look at it. When I look at it and think that that is the source of my happiness, I may get attached to it, or I may fall for it, or I may fall because of it. Fall for it or fall because of it. Or I may fall down from where I am. All falls happen only because of the falls, which tempt us for the fall. Why we fall? Anybody falling anywhere? Fallen. What a level the person was. Fallen. Why? Other than I, there is something, and that something has a source of my happiness. So I go after it. I fall. That is why it is falling. One who knows that that source of joy is within himself, and that which is within himself is in everyone, and that is everywhere. Why he will fall? Where he will fall? He or she. There is no fall. For such a thing, there is no fall. He knows that he is pure Ananda. So where is the need for searching for Ananda in anything? He will look at anything, but in that also he sees himself as Ananda Swarupa. Like Gopika sitting. So, a realized master also knows this. The Bhagavan himself is aware of this. So that is why Bhagavan never falls down. And moreover, there is no place other than himself. So where can he fall? In order for us to fall, we need to have some place other than ourselves so that we can skip the fall. He is everywhere. How can he fall? I can fall upon others. Can I fall on myself? Right? I can't fall on myself because I am there. How can I fall on myself? Similarly, Bhagavan is everywhere. He cannot fall. And Bhagavan knows he is the source of joy, and that is everywhere, and he alone is that joy. So he need not fall. That is why the next name, which is the 100th name, Achyutaha. Achyutaha means the unlapsing. This name again appears as 390 and 552. Unlapsing. Swarupa samarthya na chuto na chavate na chevishata iti achyutaha. He who has not lapsed, meaning he has not fallen, and he is not lapsing, and he is not falling, and he will not lapse, and he will not fall from his own glory. Hence the name Achyuta. Achyuta. He will never fall from his glory. He has never fallen, or is falling, or will he ever fall. That is why he is Achyuta. Shashvatam Shivam Achyutam. Maitreya. He is eternal, Shashvatam. Shivam. Here the meaning is calm. And Achyutam, unlapsing. Shashvatam Shivam Achyutam. You can never fall. And Yasman Nanchuta Purvaham Achyutastena Karmana. Sri Krishna in Shantipara in Mahabharata. I have not lapsed from my status at any time before.
He alone says why he is called Achyuta. Because he never fell. He never fell. He has never fallen. So, if we also hold on to Achyuta, he will protect us from falling. That is all it is. Achyuta. That is why Achyuta Nama also is very famous. Hold on to Achyuta. Because he is Achyuta, he will also protect us. One who can never fall only cannot make us fall. One who has already fallen, at the most he may hold us for some time, afterwards we will fall. Only he can hold us from falling. Only he. That is why he is Achyuta. And here, Sri Adi says, Adyam Shatakam Nirvritam iti Pradhama Shataka Bhashyam. Thus ends the first 100 names. Half sloka, exactly he writes this. After the half sloka, 100 names. Then Adha Vidhiya Shataka Bhashyam. Vapare. Only 100 names. Still 900 names. Vishnu knows why should we. Next name, Vrishakavihi. Vrishakavihi means dharma and the boar. Varaha. So, Varshana Sarva Kamanam Dharmo Vrishaka. Dharma is known as Vrisha by its act of moving over all the desired objects. Vrusha means dharma because if we practice dharma, it pours out all the desired objects. Meaning, through dharma we can gain anything and everything. Dharma gives us everything. That is called here as Vrusha, meaning Varshana. Like a rain, like a downpour, it will make all desired objects fall into our lap of experience, so that we can gain all of them. Kar Toya Bhumi Mapagini Kapil Varaha, the boar, which is here referred as Kapi, as he protected Pa means to protect the earth from the great waters. Kar means water. So in what form he protected? In the form of the boar, he protected the earth from the great waters. The Kurma, actually. So the Kapi means the great boar and Vrisha means Dharma. Hence the progenitor Kashyapa calls me by the appellation Vrishakapi. Vrishakapi. So then, continuing further, Ameyatma, of indefinable nature, one who has his manifestations in infinite varieties, almost unaccountable. Ameyaha. Unaccountable number of manifestations. How many manifestations Bhagavan has? Unaccountable number of manifestations. Bhagavan, when he manifests, they cannot be counted. So he is of indefinable nature. The Virata Purusha of the form of all Lord of the cosmic form is suggested. Virata Purusha is suggested here. Virata Purusha is of universal form, which has all forms in itself. So what can you define? See, if somebody wants to have some definitions, it needs to be a limited form. Then they can define. It starts here, it ends there, its height is this much, its weight is this much. So if somebody is given an opportunity to measure the height of Virata Rupa, finished. Weighted. Suppose a tailor is sent to stitch a cloth for Virata Rupa. Not Avatara. Avatara is like us only, normally. Virata Rupa, the tail is not sufficient. where it is immeasurable, universal form. And you go on measuring minute bodies, minute forms, each body. How it is? He cannot measure it. He cannot define. Somebody wants to do some test, medical test, to what Virat Rupa. What do you do? It is Virat Rupa. What can you do? Cannot do it. Impossible. We cannot define it. If it is one form, we can define it. It is all forms. What can we define? That is why it is indefinable nature. All forms are his own different forms. That is all it is. All forms are his own different forms. Sarva Yoga Vinishkrutaha, the next name. Sarva Yoga Vinishkrutaha, devoid of all context. He has no context whatsoever. Sarva Sambandha Vidirgata, Sarva Yoga Vinishkrutaha. One who has no relationship with anything is said to be the one devoid of all context. Yeah, he has no relationship. Meaning he is not attached. He has a relationless relationship. That is why Bhagavan's relationship is a relationless relationship. Asango hi ayam purushaha. Asangokhyayam Purushaha. Buddha Purusha. The spirit indeed is unattached. The spirit indeed is unattached. Or it can also be understood as he or Bhagavan is beyond the speculation of Shastras, all kinds of knowledges or systems of philosophy. They can only speculate. He is beyond all such speculations. That is why he is beyond the Shastra. That is why Dakshinamurti, when he communicated to Sanaka Sanandana Sanatana Sanat Kumaras, he did not utter a word. He sat quietly, they sat quietly. They understood, he taught. And suppose in this class, I sit quietly with closed eyes. You also sit. By the time I open eyes, I will be there. Ekam. Next day I will also not talk. Because you are not. That is what it is. In the highest level, there is no word necessarily to be spoken in the Vaikari format. The Parapashanti Madhyama Vaikari Madhyama Pashanti, before it is seen in the para level, only it was communicated by Dakshinamurti to Sanaka. That level was that. The level is like that. See, normally in our relationships also, sometimes when close people want to communicate something to others, they will just do like this. And then that is understood by other person. How many times the husbands and wives do all such things? Or any other people? Just a once over. Even the normal little bit of stone look at you can understand. What is this? That's all it is. How? It's also in the higher level of communication. Secret level. That is all it is. Or something like that now. They know it, that's all. They stop, do whatever they are doing, or they start doing what they are not doing. Signal. That's all it is. So, it is understood. He is beyond all kinds of concepts. There is no need for any Shastra to know him. So, Dakshinamurti just communicated like that. Just as our signals can communicate, Dakshinamurti parallel. That means what? The pure consciousness is beyond words, beyond alphabets, beyond the letters. But they indicate him. They take us to him. Because we are stuck here, they take us to him. But once they take us to him, they also go away because he is beyond them. He is even beyond the Shastra. Shastra will take us up to him. Afterwards, he only has to suck us into him. It will point and he will be focused there, then he will only take us. That is all it is. Or he is related to yoga taught in various shastras. That is what we said. So, devoid of all contact means even the shastra cannot touch him. So, what about other things? That is said to be the closest to him because it talks only about him. So, how for such a being which cannot be touched by any philosophical system can get attached to anything? Can he get attached to anything? He cannot. So that is why he is without contact. Next sloka. Vasubhana Satyaha Samarma Sammitas Samaha Amogha Pundarikaksho Vrishakarma Vrishakritihi Vasuhu. This name also again appears in a couple of places. Deep dweller. Vasuhu, the dweller. Vasanti sarvabhutani atra teshu ayamavi vasati iti va vasuhu. That dweller, because he dwells in all the beings. Vasanti sarvabhutani. He dwells in all the beings. That's why he called as Vasuhu, the dweller. Or all the beings dwell in him. Teshu ayamavi vasati iti va vasuhu. All beings dwell in him. Either because of that he is called as dweller, where all beings dwell in him, or he dwells in all beings, or because of that he is called as the dweller. Or another meaning is Vasu means one of the 8 Vasus. We have already seen in the initial days of this Sudhasranama who was the Vasu, and even Bhishma was one of the Vasus, how he became Bhishma and all that and so on. So Vasu Nam Pavakasyasmi. Bhagavad Gita also Bhagavan says, I am Pavaka among the Vasus. It also means he, meaning Bhagavan, vividly, clearly, perceptibly, manifestly, recognizably dwells in the heart of sages, meaning sadhus, number 1. In the heart of the righteous people, jnanis, and in the heart of quiescent, meaning quiet people, Santa Purushas. Quiet. He dwells in the heart of quiet people. He dwells in the heart of righteous people. He dwells in the heart of saintly people. Sages. Meaning, recognizably, when we meet these sages, saints, righteous people, or people of immense quietude, we will come to experience the presence, His presence. That is recognizable manifestation. That is what it means, Vasuhu. And then Vasumanaha. Vasumanaha means of great mind. Vasu also here means well. It also signifies excellence or superiority. Well, eternal well. Excellence or superiority. It is said, Prashastam mano yasya vasumanaha. The greatness, because he is of great mind, he is called as vasumanaha. Raga dveshadihi, kleshaihi, madadihi, upakleshaischa, yato na karashitam chittam, tatastamanaha prashastam. Why he is called as great mind? Of great mind? Because his mind is not polluted with the raga dveshadihi, na karashitam. His mind is not polluted with the afflictions of attachment and aversion, likes and dislikes, so-called infatuation-oriented love and hatred. His mind is not tainted by raga, and klesha ignorance, asmita, egoism, raga, like dvesha, dislike, abhinivesha, fear of non-existence, or whatever, fear of death or whatever. So, and upaklesha is kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, ascharya, dambha, darpa, irsha, asura, all these things. None of these things are there. Whatever anybody can have, all these things. None of these things can pollute his mind. That is why he is of great mind. If anybody is great, we call them as great, not because of his character. We call them because they are excellent in one field of activity or performance or manifestation of some talent. They are great. But he is great not like that. He is great only because of this. Nothing can pollute his mind. So he is great. That is what he is great. Nothing can pollute his mind. None of these things which are there in our mind can pollute him. He is of a great mind. Vasumanaha. That is why he can be the next name. Satya. One whose mind is not polluted alone can be truthful. Pollution leads to compromise. That is all it is. So, Satya, the truth. This name also appears in two other places. Abhidhata Rupatva Paramatma Satyaha. Being Paramatma, he is the reverse of the unreal. What is the reverse of the unreal? Real. That is all. He is real. Because we know the word which is unreal. Reverse of the unreal. Real. So, then Taittiriya Upanishad also says, Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. Then Murta Amurta Makatvadva. That also is being said in one of the Shrutis. So, Brahman is Satyam, existence. Jnanam, knowledge. Anantam, infinite. Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, Brahma. Murta Amurtatmakatvadva. Meaning, who is with and without form. That is the beauty. With form also and without form. That is what Bhagavan's capacity is. If he wants, he can be with form. If he doesn't want, he can be without form. At the same time, he is without form as highest consciousness, with the form as an appearance. Like sun and reflection, infinite space and particles. In Taittiriya Upanishad, it is also said, Satyatyaccha Bhavata, he is endowed with form and devoid of form. Taittiriya Upanishad also says, he is endowed with form, he is devoid of form. How nice it is. So, Sat means that. With form also, without form also, or real also. And in the Aitareya Upanishad, the Sat is interpreted like this. Sat means prana. Ti means food. Yam means sun. Sat means prana, Ti means food, Yam means sun. So Satyam means he is Satyam because his form is made up of prana, matter and the sun. Aitareya Upanishad explains like that. Sun means light, light of consciousness, prana means energy, then matter. The total universal form together is like that. Then Satya also means he is the virtue in holy being. He is the virtue in holy being. That is what Bhajanatha is called as Satya. Satya is not only being truthful, Satya is all this. Paramatma Swarupa, being real and existent knowledge and infinite and with form and without form, all that. Then Samatma, the same self. Samatma, always the same self. Sameness means balance, means equanimous, means not polluted by external things. Samaha Atma Mano Yasya Ragadveshadhi Adushitaha Saha Samatma. whose mind is undisturbed by likes and dislikes. Why our mind is disturbed? We don't like something and it happens disturbed. We like something, it does not happen disturbed. Whether it is objects or people or situations or happenings, whatever it is. Likes and dislikes disturb us. Anytime, let us see, these are thoughts, raga, dvesha. So, his mind is not disturbed by likes and dislikes. So, he can be the same to all. Only the Mahapurusha or Bhagavan himself, whose mind is not disturbed by likes and dislikes, can be same to all. Rest all will have ups and downs in the relationships. Likes and dislikes are normal. Sarva bhuteshu samaha eka atmava sama atmeti vidya. Kaushitaki Upanishad. This is said in that. Sarva bhuteshu samaha eka atmava. He is the same sama in all beings. He is the same in all beings. One should understand that the self is same in all. The inner self is same in all. He is the same in all beings. From his standpoint, when he sees the other person as an inner self, he alone is there in other self also. The reflection of the sun, which knows that the original reflection is real, and it knows that there is same reflection in another part also. Why this reflection will have any difference with the other reflection? When it sees a reflection, when my inner self sees your inner self, there will be no difference. When my mind sees your mind, there are so many differences. When my ego sees your ego, oh, ego. When my intellect sees your intellect, oh, logical conflicts, oh, conflicts. When myself sees yourself, no difference. When I see you as a mind, it cannot be sameness, or ego, or intellect, or chitta, it cannot be sameness. When I see you as the self, then that is why namaskara. Not a shaking hand and confidence. Namaskara, that is the only reason. Namaste. Yourself, I see you as yourself and myself. So that is self I said. Where is the difference there? There is no difference. If we lift our viewing and understanding and knowing capability to that heights, the moment we become aware of inner self in that person, in myself, and both are one, there is a difference. There is no difference. At the mind level onwards, the body level, so many differences. It is our choice. So he is Savatma because he knows he is the same self in everything. That is why he is same. Any mind intellect only ego, body he is same. Because he sees what he is. And that is real self. Next, 108th name. Asamhitaha. Samhitaha means measured by all. Asamhitaha means unlimited by every other thing. Or one who is incomparable. He is incomparable, immeasurable, unlimited. Samhita also means the one truth which has been proved and accepted by the rishis in the Upanishads through subtle logic and philosophical reasoning. It is called Samhita. So it is interpreted in different ways. From Chinmaya also says here. previous name and this name, Samatma Samhita or Samatma Asamhita. Both ways it can be interpreted. So this can be written as Samhita when we enter there Samatma or Samatma Asamhita. So that is why it is both ways it is interpreted. And in the Bhashya, Adi Shankaracharya selects Asamhita, immeasurable, unlimited, incomparable. Next name, Samaha, the same. Sarvakaleshu, Sarvavikara Rahitatva Samaha. How can he be Samaha? Sarvakaleshu, at all times. Sarvavikara Rahitatva, he is free from all changes. So he is Samaha. At all times he is free from all changes. If you meet him now, if you meet him after 100 years, he will remain the same. Same love, same affection, same feeling, same concern, same care, same attention, same appreciation for you. Other people, they may change because everything undergoes so much of change. Mind modifies. In mind, thoughts modify. In mind, associated with thoughts, feelings get modified. In intellect, the ideas also get modified. Everything is influenced by modifications. Always changing. So how can we be the same? And why should we feel bad that somebody is not the same? It can't be. That is accept whatever they are. At this time they are like this, okay? At other time they are like that, okay? Because when they are at this time like this, when they are at that time like that, in them they are same. Mind and intellect only, they can't be the same. But Bhagavan is same. Sarvakaleshu Sarvavikara Rahitatva. At all times. But you and I, at some time we are very happy, at some time very jumping and joyous, at some time we are low, at some time we are lost, at some time we are depressed, at some time we are totally sorrow. Sometimes very peaceful, sometimes totally agitated. But he is the same. Maya Lakshmiya Saha Vartata Idiva Samaha. Another meaning. Samaha also because this meaning given more. Otherwise, that is always same and all. Maya Lakshmiya Saha Vartata Idiva Samaha. United to Lakshmi. Sa means with and Ma means Lakshmi. So he is ever with Lakshmi. That is why it's Samaha. This Samatva I want. Always with Lakshmi. This Samatva I want. How can we be Samaha unless the Adhyatmika Lakshmi is there with us? That is what is spiritual knowledge. Our sadhana. That is it. Once we have that knowledge, then we will be really great. So next name, Amogaha, of fruitful worship. This is also a very nice name which we can like very much because from the beneficial levels, from a normal individual level, we are very much benefited by this. Of fruitful worship. Pujitaha, Stutaha, Samskruto va, Sarva Phalam Dadati, Na Vrtha Karoti, iti Amogaha. Beautiful. Pujitaha, when worshipped. Stutaha, when praised. Samskrutova, when remembered. You can worship him or praise him or just like that remember him. He fulfills every desire when worshipped, praised or remembered and never leaves aspirations unfulfilled. Whatever we aspire for, he will never leave it unfulfilled. He will fulfill it, either immediately or after some time or much later. That is there because our own karmas are obstructing the fulfillment right now. He might have released it at order, but the postal department has not got it to us. What can we do? They have sent an email, but then suddenly the connections got stuck. from time. So sometimes what happens, we will be getting all things, we don't know. Did I place the order? Yes, I have placed the order. I might not have remembered it, I might not be aware of it. Everything that comes to me in the play as an experience for me to experience, all are ordered by me. Either now or before or much before. I have ordered. Once I place the order, he will release the product. It may take time. So, but still, he may give things now also, immediately also, spontaneously also, at once also, after some time also, after some more time also. That is his choice. But he gives. That is right. What we have to know? Simple. Just worship him. Just worship him. Or raise him, chant names, or just remember him. That's it. That is why our worship of him is fruitful worship. He is our fruitful worship. Avitatha sankalpa dva. His will is always unobstructed. If he wills it for us, nothing can go haywire. Nothing can obstruct our path to success or fulfillment. If it is his will, we will definitely. If it is our will, possibilities may or may not be. His will, definitely. How to make his will manifest? Follow his guidelines and live life as he wants us to live. Then his will alone will be there. Our will be taken over, overpowered, totally taken over by him. Then his will alone will function as our will in the external world. He alone will take it over. That's why his will is supreme, God's will. Satyakama, Satyasankalpa, Chandogya Upanishad. Truthful is his wish and truthful is his resolve. When he takes the resolve, it is very far. With his wish, it will definitely be fruitful. That is why we say, Bhagavan's wish, Bhagavan's will, meaning what? If it is his will, if it is his wish, it will definitely happen. Because my will might have got limitations, incapacities, doshas, impurities, obstruction. His will cannot face anything. That is why he is Amogaha. And continuing further, Pundarikakshaha, pervading the lotus of the heart. Pundarikakshaha, pervading the lotus of the heart. Hrudayakam, Pundarikam Ashnute, Vyapnoti, Tatropa Lakshita, iti Pundarikakshaha. Pundarika means the lotus of the heart, and Aksha means to pervade it. Another beautiful meaning is that Aksha means to be seen it. This is what is the beautiful thing for all of us. Pundarikaksha means, see, the lotus of the heart. He pervades the lotus of the heart, or he is seen in the lotus of the heart. He pervades the lotus of the heart, or he is seen in the lotus of the heart. He is seen when he pervades, where in our heart. Where is our heart? Actually, the spiritual heart is in the center. When we focus our attention of mind and want to experience him, he is present there and he can be seen there. Not only that he is present there, he can be seen there. He can be seen by others. How clear it is, he can be seen. That is why he is called as Pundarikaksha. How can he be seen? Only if he is present there. Otherwise, how can he be seen? He cannot be seen if he is not present. So, for seeing him, we need to put forth some effort. So next time, whenever we want to experience the presence of God, we have to experience the presence of God in our heart. And we try to meditate upon Him, contemplate upon Him inside, and then we will come to experience Him inside our heart. So never ever think that where He is, how to see Him. Easiest thing is said here in the names. Look into your own heart. Bhagavan Vishnu says, I am there. Definitely we can experience not only His presence, but His darshana, but His anubhava, all that can be possible. That is why many of the meditation techniques start with the heart, center of the heart. That is why He is there available to all of us. Yat Pundalikam Puramadhya Samstham Taittiriya. There is a lotus in the center of the body. Pundalikakare Ube Akshini Asyediva. That way also he has lotus like eyes. That is why he is Pundalikakshi. But actually the more beautiful thing is, He is present in our heart. We can contact Him there. In our silent communion with Him, in our contemplative, meditative communion with Him. Guarantee is there. Next name, Vrishakarma, of righteous action. Dharma Lakshanam Karma, Asyedi Vrishakarma. Vrisha means dharma, and karma means action. One whose every activity is righteous and who acts only to establish righteousness. If every activity is righteous, that means what? One whose karma is dharma. If every activity is righteous and who acts only to establish righteousness. That is why it is called as Vrishakarma. All his activities are righteous actions only. Sometimes they may look that they are on the border of dharma, but it is always on the righteous side. There is no need for him to go to the other side. Next one, Vrishakriti. Vrishakriti means Dharmartham Akriti Shariram Yasya Saha Vrishakriti. Incarnated for the sake of righteousness. Why does he take the body? Why does he take the Sharira? Only for establishing the righteousness, protecting the righteous people. So, the one who has got the form, which is only for the sake of righteousness, he has incarnated for the sake of righteousness, Vrishakriti. And Bhagavan also said, Dharma Samsthapanarthaya Samavati Vede. I take the form for the sake of establishing Dharma. I am born in every age, every time. And we see from the Smritis that there is another meaning for this. Rama is personification of Dharma. Ramo Vigrahavan Dharma. So Dharma, if it has taken a form, it is Rama. In that avatar, specifically as Dharma, but form is Dharmic form. So Vrishakriti. Then we move on to the next sloka. Rudro Bahushina Babruhu Vishvayonis Suchishrava Amruta Shashvata Sthanuhu Then we come to know the glory and importance of Rudrabhishekam or Rudra Sukta, which it is performed whenever we do Havana or Homakas. Or Rudrabhishekam. Rudram, Napakam Chamakam. Rudram. Why Rudra? As he causes the people will cry. So he is Rudra. Naturally, somebody should take care of the resolution also, closing down also, not only opening and maintaining, but closing down, winding up, but also. So Rudra takes care of winding up. Right. Next, Rudam Radi Tadavi Diva. Beautiful. Rudra may mean one who confers good, one who gives good to us. Chant Rudram, always good happens to us. He will take care. Next meaning, which we truly like, Rud Dukham Dukhakaranam Dravayati Iti Va Rudraha. One who destroys through misery and makes cause of good. One who destroys the misery and cause of the misery, so that the misery doesn't happen again. If misery only is destroyed, cause remains, it may sprout, it may become a tree, it may send its shoots. Why unnecessary? Misery को भी निकालो, उसका cause को उखाड़ के दे. That is what it is. Remove the misery and cause of the misery. That is Rudraha. How beautiful it is. So when we are surrendering to Rudra, when we go down to Rudra, when we chant Rudram, or when we listen, that is all going to happen. This is what it is. Rud Dukkham Dukkha Heyamva Vidravere Sa Prabhu. Rudra Ityuchate Tasma Shiva Paramatma Karanam. Shiva Paramatma Karanam. It is from Hindu Purana. The supreme cause, Shiva, because there is no difference between Bhagavan Krishna and Shiva. Krishna and Shiva already we have seen. So we have seen enough about that. So far also, no need for referring again. So the supreme cause is Shiva. So supreme cause Krishna, supreme cause Vishnu is same as supreme cause Shiva. So supreme cause Shiva is called Rudra. Because Rudra, as the Lord puts to flight, he will make a flight booking and then keep them in that flight and send them a reward because of the misery or misery itself. That is why Bhagavan says in Bhagavad Gita, Rudranam Shankarastasmi. Sri Krishna says, among the Rudras I am Shankara. The one who gives all auspicious things, that is the Shankara. Bahushiraha, myriad, meaning Bahuni Shiramsi Yasyati Bahushiraha. So many heads, number of heads. Vishwarupa. Sahasra Risha, Purusha, Rigveda Samhita. He is 1,000-headed, 1,000 heads. Myriad number of heads. Bahushiraha, not one. Many heads. Babruhu, the supporter of the worlds. Vibhati Lokanati Babruhu. He as Adishesha supports the earth. Also, Swami Chinmayananda says, he in whose presence all the instruments of perception, all the instruments of feeling, all the instruments of knowing continue their coordinated activity. That is called as the self. In his presence only, all instruments of perception, feeling and knowing can coordinate their activity. That is called as self. So he alone supports all instruments of perception, feeling and knowledge. So that is why he is great Vishnu who supports everything. Vishwayonihi, the universal cause. Vishwasya Karanatvat Vishwayonihi, the womb from which everything came out. He alone is the womb. And also a womb from where the subtle things also came out. That's why Swami Chinmayananda says, he is the womb from which the thoughts had arisen, the actions had arisen. He is the womb. Then Suchishravata of holy names. He is of holy names. Meaning Suchini, Shravamshi Namani, Sarvaniyam Yasyeti, Suchishravata, whose names are worthy of being heard. His names are so beneficial, so blissful, oriented, so his names are worthy of being heard. Whenever we like something or something is so precious and valuable, we want to hear it again and again. These names are worthy of being heard. Or one who has beautiful ears. Or one who has ears everywhere. Sarvataha Shuddhamal Loke, Bhagavad Gita. He has ears everywhere. That means he listens to everything. How much ever silently we may say also he listens first. So that we have to be careful. When the devotee invokes him in 1,000 he can readily listen and rightly understand the exact unity and the real depth of devotion. Whenever we chant his name, he knows exact unity in us and the real depth of devotion. Whether it is there or not there, or just like that we are doing, or formal sake we are doing, or for somebody's sake we are saying, he will know it. We can't manipulate his understanding. So that is what is Suchistava. Amrita immortal. Na vidyate mritam maranam asyati amrita. Because he has no decay, no death. He is Amrita. Brother Upanishad, Ajaro Amaraha. He is undecaying and immortal. And then next name, Shashvata Sthanuhu, eternally firm, who remains the same in all periods of time, eternally, all periods of firm, always firm. Shashvata Sthanuschedis, Shashvata Sthanuhu, always firm in everything. We also need that firmness. Then, Vararoha, of excellent ascent. Vara means excellent, Aroha means elevation. Of excellent ascent. If we ascend up to him, if we gain his level, if we reach him, who is an excellent ascender, who is the supreme goal, and we will never return again. Nacha Dvara Vartate, Chandogya Upanishad. He does not return to worldly life. Bhagavad Gita, Yat Praptyam Na Nivartante. Shruti also says, Smriti also says, after reaching whom, man do not return. He is of excellent ascent. Once we reach him, there is no return. We need not return. Next name, Mahatapapa, of great knowledge. Mahat Sruja Vishayam Papa, Jnana Asyati Mahatapapa. Because the capacity of his knowledge to create is very great. Knowledge means tapas. Tapas means knowledge, jnana. Tapas means prosperity, aishwaryam. Tapas means might, pratap. Tapas means knowledge. Tapas means prosperity. Tapas means might. All these three things. So yasya jnanam papa, whose tapas is of the nature of knowledge, or whose glory and greatness are supreme. His glory is supreme. His greatness is supreme. He alone is great, not ordinary. So, if we want prosperity, if we want more knowledge by which we can transcend the misery, if we want the mind by which we can face all obstacles and overcome them, we need to do tapas for the sake of him. And he is Mahatapapa. So, let us continue to do our tapas in the form of various names of Vishnu Sahasranama. Sri Ram Ram Rameti Rame Rame Manorame Sahasranamatulyam Ramanama Varanane Sri Ramanama Varanane सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् ॐ शान्तिः 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 हरिः ॐ